All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the nation of Israel. This is going to be a quick video on how Esau thought that he was going to continually keep us down, right? But it didn't remember the latter end of it, all right? So I want to start off with Deuteronomy chapter 32, all right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 26. I said I would scatter them into the corners. I'd make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. So you've got a lot of these people in the world, right, that try and say that, oh, when you mention Psalms 83, that's not a prophecy, right? But this is a prophecy, though. This Deuteronomy right here is a prophecy. This is a prophecy of what God said he was going to do to the Israelites, right? When you read it, Genesis chapter 32 and verse 29, I said, who's the I that's referring to here? He's talking about the Most High Yahweh. I said I would scatter them into the corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is high, and Yahweh have not done all this. So Esau thought that he is the person that took us down as a nation. He doesn't consider that Yahweh weakened us, right? Like, if just imagine, for example, let me try and, if I use a video game analogy, it makes it easier for me to explain, and it makes it easier for people to understand, maybe that might understand video games or whatever, man, right? But imagine, like, when you play a video game and you have stats where you create the character, right? So you might have 100 credits or whatever to put into particular character stats, right? So what Yahweh did is he decreased our stats, man, right? He decreased all our stats and made us weaker, right? And therefore that allowed other nations that was weaker than us to be able to take us down, right? But what he's doing now is he's gradually increasing our stats back up again to where he's going to increase our stats way beyond what we ever had previously, right? He's going to make us be so high to where we can never be taken down again, because we're never going to sin. So we're only going to continue to grow as a nation. That's what he's getting ready to do for us, as he promised he would do. He's going to free us from the last enemy, which is death, according to 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter and the 26th verse. Verse 28, for they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider the latter end, and they didn't consider the latter end, right? And which nation does it refer to as not considering their latter end also in the scriptures? Let's go to it. Because you ain't going to hear this stuff from no Edomite Christians, man. Edomite Christians don't go into the scriptures in this kind of way. This is Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt know me, record, tender and delicate. Now, the Chaldeans was a higher ranking Cushites of the Babylonians, but it refers to Esau being the daughter of them, right? It refers to the virgin Babylon, right? Which again, Babylon was another nation from Cush, man. So lucky, I'm trying to make there not be no alerts or nothing like that, man. Let me put it on this mode. All right, he was another nation from Cush, right? Another nation from the Cushites. Now, when you go to Psalms 137, right, and that's the spirit that it just showed something about inflation as well, because that's part of Esau falling down, right? This is Psalm 137 and verse 7. Remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee, as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone. So when it's referring to the daughter of Babylon, it's talking about the Edomites. That's the nation it's talking about in the scriptures, man. The daughter of Babylon is another way of saying Esau. Is another way of saying Edom. Now, let me read it again. Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt know and be called tender and delicate. All right? Now, let me jump to the point. Where it says they didn't consider the latter end of it, right? Verse 5, sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms. I have wrath with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand. But these Edomites don't consider that Yahweh made them be able to take us over for these last 500 years or whatever, right? In order to punish us, right? Like here it is, these Edomites are so dumb. They really actually believe that a people that can do all of the things physically that we do, right? And the people that have such intelligence as we have haven't had any kingdoms because they're basing their whole thought process regarding the whole history of the earth in the whole time that they've been in rulership. They disregard anything in the past, or they just try and put their faces on anything in the past, right? And then they claim that we're Hamites, and then even in that way, they're still trying to say that we haven't had any kingdoms. Yet, if we're Hamites, that would mean that we're the Egyptian Empire, or that would mean that we're the Babylonians as well. So they're just full of it, man. They're jokers, and they know really that we have did many things, and that's why they're always trying to bother us, man. If we're really as lame as they say, they wouldn't care that we're saying we're the Israelites. That would be a joke to them. They would like let them do it. They wouldn't be trying to put fake things on the internet and say that we're doing things. They just leave us alone. Verse 6, I was very rough with verse 6 again, I was rough with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy upon the ancient. Thou was very heavily laid their yoke. And the reason why they did these things, right, is because they didn't think that they was going to receive punishment for it. Verse 7, and said, thou saidst in thy heart, I shall be a lady forever. So that thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither didst remember the latter end. And that's referring to Esau, man. Back in Deuteronomy, he was talking about nations that was not going to consider the latter end when Israelites fell, when they got scattered into different nations. And that's talking about Esau, man. Verse 7, thou saidst in thy heart, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it, and the latter end of it's coming right now, to where these Edomites are despised, they're hated, right? People look at them sideways. They're trying to claim that they're under pressure and that they're discriminated against, the most discriminated against people. And then you've even got some of you Jakes that still try and push this lie out. But how the hell can you be the most discriminated people, and how the hell can you be under threat the most when you've got tanks? Like it's proper ridiculous how these devils try and act, man. And they ain't even yet to begun to experience being under no threat. They haven't begun to be close to that. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right? And that's what Esau thought. But Yahweh's going to bring them down, man. Yahweh's getting ready to bring them down. And he's going to use Edomites to take down other Edomites, man, during World War III. They're going to shoot nukes at each other and destroy each other, man. And that's going to cause for us to become the top nation. Because this is all Yahweh's plan, man. When these nukes get shot off and World War III starts, the Israelites of the elect are not going to see are not going to be on the earth when the main destructions come. They're going to see certain things before that, because they still have to see the MOTB, right? That device that's going to be pushed on the world in Revelation, the 13th chapter and the 16th verse, right? Which is the same device that's mentioned in Revelation, the 14th chapter and the 9th and 10th verse, which is the same thing that's mentioned in Revelation, I believe, the 16th verse. And the same thing is also mentioned in Revelation, the 19th verse, the 19th chapter, and the 20th verse. And the same things mentioned in Revelation, the 20th chapter and the 4th verse, right? Where it says that people are going to be beheaded for not taking it. But they're going to be beamed up in chariots at that time when the nukes fly off, because them nukes is going to be what's going to cause the lake of fire that the Bible speaks of. Now, I'm going to end this lesson on this scripture here. This is Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18, because this is the latter end of what Esau did to the Israelites. This is what the ultimate end of him is going to be. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh have spoken it. Right? So there's going to come a day where there's no Edomites left on the earth ever. There's not going to be one. Right? What Yahweh told Saul to do is going to be completed. Because Yahweh told Saul to destroy all of the Edomites, but he didn't do it. Yahweh told Moses that he was never going to forget what the Edomites did to us. That he was going to lay on them from generation to generation. And that's been laid on them from generation to generation, man. Now, I'm going to end the lesson there. All praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Makar, Kadash, and Shalom to the nation of Israel. Shalom.